Welcome to Go Home Heat, a wrestling podcast. Impact Wrestling starts our work week out. Then we'll talk about AEW, and then we will go into
New Japan Pro Wrestling. Dominion.
Yes. Now, Impact starts out with Tasha Steelz, Kiera. They are setting up Slammiversary.
There is a large gauntlet match.
Correct.
For knockouts.
Everybody is in the match. Quite a collection of female talent.
I was thinking that the whole time. I was like, dog, this collection of talent is kind of crazy.
Absolutely. Now, so we got Steelz, Hogan, Taya Valkyrie, Rosemary, Havoc, Nevaeh, Alicia, Kylie Ray, Susie, Rosemary. Did I put Rosemary twice?
You put Rosemary twice.
Let's do that. Well, she's got voices, so it's fine.
Yeah.
It was Taya
Valkyrie?
I already said her.
You said Valkyrie.
All right. Kimberly is in there. All right, so this is everybody's there.
It was like an 8 woman tag match.
Right. And Kimberly winds up taking the pin after a really good time, I thought.
Yes. Oh man. It again just kind of crazy seeing all that talent in the ring at the same time. I mean, I love Rosemary. I love what she's doing with Taya. Taya is just a phenomenal talent. Kylie Ray, highly enjoyable.
Right.
We got a little more progression in the story from Susie.
She's getting close.
She was doing a couple moves that Su Yung does.
She's getting close to switching back.
Oh, man. She called it...
She'll be undead in no time.
In no time at all. An Arachnorana.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
She kind of like flips up, holding the ropes, and does a Rana out of the corner. Very cool move.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited for the return of Su Yung. I love the undead realm in Impact.
It is awesome.
I ate it up, dude. Rosemary's outfit, I love it. I love it, dude.
Absolutely.
I love Impact, man.
It's so good. Okay, Speaking of so good, Hernandez and Rhino arm wrestle.
For the 7th day in a row.
All over the building. They are arm wrestling in the bathrooms, mostly, it seems. Moose wants a partner, and he kind of disrupts it, so Hernandez loses, but he won't pay his debt because that wasn't fair, and they will wind up brawling later. Throwback, Suicide, Kenny King, Sabin in the X Division match. I hope Kenny King shows up at Slammiversary, but I think it'll be Sabin because I think Sabin already works there as some form of a booker.
Yes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Kenny King, I feel like a couple months ago I read he got a new contract or something like that.
With Ring of Honor?
With Ring of Honor, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, that should be good. Sabin can still go, I'm sure, periodically. We know that Suicide will be there. Whether he'll be Johnny Swinger or not, we don't.
We'll see, because there has been some development with Johnny Swinger. A little bit.
Okay.
No, I meant in the story. No, he hasn't done anything wrong or anything like that. No, in the story.
Johnny Swinger can't do anything wrong.
He can't, dog.
No, he's just walking around striking out legit. Triple XL, Larry D and AC Romero. You scared me right there when you said that about Johnny Swinger. I was like, no, be. It can't be. Okay.
No, that's just his character.
Versus the Deaners. Cousin Jake rolls up Larry D in a quick match, and then Triple X jumps him afterwards, and I'm okay with the feud here.
That's perfectly fine with me. Those guys can go. I like the Deaners quite a bit.
I'm really starting to like Cousin.
Cousin Jake?
Yes.
Dude, Cousin Jake, he has a brand of sacrifice from Berserk tattoo on his arm, which is like the 4th wrestler I've seen that has a tattoo of that.
Really?
Very cool.
All right.
Evidently, Berserk really big in the wrestling community.
Excellent. Moose asked Raji to be his partner. I loved the segment.
Oh, the one with Rohit?
Yeah.
And Moose? Oh, man, that was so funny.
He's like, I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel here.
Like, straight up saying that to him. And then Rohit's just like, How dare you ask me last? Mm-hmm. But I'm going to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course I'm going to do it. But you could at least pump me up a little bit for it. I deserve better than this.
Dude, I love the story they're telling with Rohit, man.
Yeah. And so they do go out there and wrestle.
That's one of the strengths of Impact, is it all kind of works together. The fact that he was chosen as a random tag partner last week and also this week, and it's contiguous for him, you know?
Right.
It's not he's just the last option. There's a story going on with him.
Absolutely. Everybody on the show has some form of a story. It's not like every wrestling company besides Impact has performers that are just there until they find something else to do, and so they'll just stick them out there and let them have a match just so you don't forget that they exist. Whereas with Impact, if you're on my television set, you're doing something. Yeah. There's the role you have in life. Okay. Video package that sets up Mac versus
Chris Bay.
Yes. What did you think about that?
Good. Their video packages have been phenomenal the last couple weeks.
Swingman's going to get the ref to let him be ringside. This is what you were actually alluding to.
Yes.
He's going to be, as a lawyer note, where he will be the emotional support companion.
Yes.
Like a dog, like a service dog.
Yes. Given probably the last mention to cancel culture on television.
Correct. And then we get Swinger actually getting the okay from the referee to be in the match, only to find out as Chris Bay is attempting to hook it up with a young lady, he's hitting on her and he's talking about how great he's doing because he's using this old guy, and Johnny Swinger is heartbroken.
He's finessing him.
And Johnny's heartbroken, and then Johnny is heartbroken to the point where he lies about being allowed because the office won't budge, and you're going to have to face Willie Mack on your own. I
kind of admire Impact for having this story and making me feel like legitimately bad for Johnny Swinger.
Right.
Like, as much as he is a cheating, nasty, weird guy, I just felt bad for him.
Yeah, because this is his shot. I mean, Johnny Swinger's whole life, the way they portrayed him is, I've never had a shot at being the guy, or even the second guy, or even in the shadow of the guy. And here I was, a chance to be right there with the guy holding the belt, and look what happened.
And I was like legitimately trying to help him.
Yeah. And his whole quest, the Willie Mack thing, was his quest to be relevant. And he doesn't realize, and the best part is he doesn't even realize where the standing. It's so good. It's so good. Okay. Video package is up next with Jordani Grace and Deanna Purrazzo. We get a contract signing. And what did you think about this?
I thought it was a pretty good segment. Jordan Grace is one of becoming one of my favorite people in the company as time has gone on. I think Impact's really good at building people up. Yeah.
And when she gets up to attack Purrazzo and Jacobs gets between him, and then she's like, what are you going to do? And he backs away. It's awesome. Good. It's awesome. Yeah,
I love Jimmy Jacobs.
Yeah, he's the best. I
hope we get the return of Zombie Princess at some point.
Yes. But he may be real happy doing what he's doing and not taking bumps.
Yeah, man. You never know what's going on with them personally. I hope he's happy. Yeah. He seems happy.
Oh, yeah. The North, Shamrock, Callahan, Alexander, Page wind up. There's a video thing to set that up. And Sammy tells the story of the Scorpion and the Frog, which we had alluded to before.
I found it funny that it came up.
Yeah.
Dude, that story's great. I'm excited for that. I found Shamrock's reply to it to be a little weak. I guess it was very straightforward in a very Shamrock kind of way, where he's like, well, maybe the Frog's gonna break the Scorpion's neck. Scorpions have like necks to break.
But it is totally Shamrock, right? Though, right?
It's totally Shamrock.
Right.
Just brute force.
Right. And so then we wind up with Raju. I always say his name wrong.
Rohit
Raju and Moose versus Crazy Steve and Tommy Dreamer. And Moose out here selling for Dreamer like nobody's business. Steve blindly attacks. Get it? Blindly attacks.
Because he's legally blind?
Yes. Crazy Steve with the pin, and he is a really good wrestler for a blind guy.
Crazy Steve, he's just like way better than I thought he would be. I kind of figured he would be...
I don't remember him being as good.
Maybe being on the indies and stuff really helped him out.
Yeah, he's really killing it right now.
He had that banger with Moose the other week.
Yeah, absolutely. But he's also in there with good wrestlers.
Valid point.
Moose and...
Tommy Dreamer.
Right. Yeah, but he's on his team.
Yeah.
He might have trouble selling Tommy Dreamer as a good wrestler. Okay, Madman Fulton and Ace Austin are at home. And they're talking. They're at that home.
No,
they're riding around in an RV.
Yes.
And eventually they wind up going to The gym will get there, though. Rhino versus Hernandez is a street brawl in the parking lot until the two older gentlemen get tired and split the money.
I love this segment, man. I just what I found, I enjoyed it from just like, because the music kept building up, and then they would like, one of them would start to walk away, and then it would be like silent, and then like music would start again as soon as the other guy attacked, like 5 times. Mm-hmm. It was so entertaining and fun. It was just like epic choirs singing, and then the part that killed me was when Hernandez picks up the cones, hits him, and picks up another one and yells, "That's my money, punk," through it like it's a megaphone. Like right as the music climaxes.
Right.
Oh, dude, it was such an entertaining segment.
Right.
I got my full enjoyment out of it.
Great. Okay. Then they do another video segment where they're hyping who could be the mystery opponent along with Trey, Austin, and Eddie. And then Ace is putting his workouts with Madman and someone else on the gram. Wentz and Trey realize that, and they go. It's at their gym, and they go, and we get a brawl. And then at the end of the brawl, Fulton is between Ace and Trey, and it looks like Trey's in trouble. And then Wentz has a barbed wire chair.
Yeah, I don't know where you got that.
They're not everywhere, but maybe in a wrestling gym. Maybe Mick Foley signed it or something.
That's true.
You know. But anyway, I thought it was to me, it was not the best segment on the show, but I thought it was a great way to get me hyped up going into a championship match. They fought all over the place.
Dude, yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like Impact can just do stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And it's great.
Right, absolutely.
And there was a video package right before it where Trey had a fantastic promo. I believe that was from a couple weeks ago, but seeing it again is fantastic. He had so much fire and passion. And then the Ace Austin part, I love. Dude, I hope they pull the trigger on Ace.
Right.
I'm 100% for him winning the belt. Please.
Yeah, he has to win.
Please.
He has to win.
Please.
Did you have something? You raised your hand, Ray.
No, I didn't have something.
Okay. You want Ace Austin to win, right? You're a big Ace Austin mark.
I want Ace to win too, but I have this weird feeling that an EC3 will be in that match and win.
I feel like there's a way they can do that. That like Trey spends so much time. Like Trey's probably not even gonna try to win the match. Trey's there to put the beat down on Ace Austin. Mm-hmm. That they'll just be fighting somewhere.
Right.
And EC3 will win or whatever, you know?
Right.
I'm still holding out for an Ace Austin win, but I get why they would make that decision.
Well, that probably goes along with signing somebody.
Yeah, true. Hey, come to our company. We'll make you champion immediately.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, all right.
Yeah, absolutely. And, dude, EC3, with what they are allowed to do over there, he would kill it. Eric Young would kill it. But EC3 given, hey, there's your cameraman, go do what you want, could be a lot of fun entertainment. We liked the episode. We're looking forward to Slammiversary.
Dude, yes, I love the episode.
Excellent. AEW, Cody versus Sonny Kiss. What'd you think?
I came out of this match. I feel like it was really well done in that I came out of it thinking, wow, Sonny Kiss is getting quite good. And wow, Cody's turning heel.
Well, here's my thing about that. I did not appreciate the commentary during this match.
What were they doing that you didn't?
We said after Sonny does his dance in, JR says Cody should win this easily. Then they talk the entire match about how the only reason why this match is going on is because Cody is not focused. Cody is a grown man who owns a company, and he has to have Arn Anderson slap him on the chin and tell him to get his head out of his butt during a match. Okay? My problem with it is we've been sold that the purpose of what Cody is doing is to get over young, good talent. And if you turn the sound off and watch this match, besides the push-ups, that's exactly what they did. You know who didn't do that? Taz, JR, and Excalibur. they're telling the opposite story of what I should come away from this thinking, which is Sonny. And it's not the first time on this episode. It's the first time on this episode, but not the last time on this episode that I'm watching a match and I'm going, why are y'all, who wrote the script for you? Because you're doing the opposite of what I need done right here. Because Sonny Kiss did perform in a way where he should get a rub off of that, and it should matter next time he gets in the ring. And Cody could have been in the heel turning process without, and I don't think Cody wrestled besides the push-ups like he was belittling the guy. It was the other aspects of it. It was Arn acting like there's no way you should be in this situation. It was, and again, the wrestling was good.
Yes.
You know, it just I wanted something else. I'm sorry, I wanted something else here. FTR versus the Lucha Brothers, and I thought this was very. What did you think about this?
I thought it was. I love the ending to it, and there was a great sling blade in it. It was not quite as good as I had hoped it would be, but I guess my expectations were perhaps a little too high for normal TV.
Well, yeah, and here's the problem. Again, I was told this is Fight for the Fallen.
Yeah. You know, it didn't feel exactly like a pay-per-view. Again, they put on 2 pay-per-view-like events in the last 2 weeks, you know?
Correct. And they got worried, and so they created another pay-per-view on the heels of those 2.
Yes.
And they didn't give us that this week.
No, not quite. Not that the wrestling was bad. It just
the wrestling was very good.
Yes, just not quite the presentation I had hoped for.
Right.
I did like the ending.
Did you like No, go ahead and talk about the ending.
I thought, okay, so the ending was that, I don't know, I cannot differentiate between the FTR guys. One of them is bald with beard, and the other one has hair and beard.
Bald with beard pulls the mask off.
Yes, bald with beard pulls the mask off, and I like that, and they mentioned it on commentary, that during normal Lucha rules, that would get you immediately disqualified.
I thought that was good.
I thought that was really interesting, because, like, the Lucha Brothers wrestle by Lucha rules, and the FTR definitely does not.
Right.
So the fact that they took advantage of it not being Lucha rules, I don't know, I find that it's like an interesting facet of them, that they would be willing to, quote-unquote, cheat despite not actually cheating, if that makes sense.
Right, be disrespectful but not cheating. Lack of morals, not a lack of...
Not a lack of... not cheat, yeah.
All right. But now, then Kenny comes out and offers them a beer, and they pour it on his head.
Kenny has had a rough couple of weeks.
Right. Okay. So we're going to move on to Jericho explaining demos to us, and then saying that because of him being the demo god, they want Orange Cassidy in the ring with the demo god, and Orange comes out, strolls out from a distance, and they yell at each other. Well, Chris yells.
Yeah, Chris yells.
Orange gives him the thumbs down, and we get tons of orange juice poured on top of Chris Jericho, and Jericho screams and hollers. What did you think?
So, there's been quite a bit of talk about ratings and such, and I find that very annoying. However, the idea that Chris Jericho, who does seem to an extent be on Twitter talking about the ratings quite a bit, the idea of wrestling being yourself turned up to 11 and Chris Jericho going out there and calling himself the demo god for being in that demo, I do find that mildly entertaining, even though I am quite sick of talking about ratings, because, man, does it really matter? Does it really matter? However, Chris Jericho, pathetic guy talking about it, does make sense.
Yeah, I get it. And the orange juice being poured on his head?
I really enjoyed Ortiz flopping around in it like a fish. That was quite good.
A lot of effort for a slacker.
A lot of... I'm sure that was mostly the best friends or something. You know what I mean?
They need to let us know that.
Yes,
because
that's
that
true.
is an extreme amount of effort for a person who I've been told is a slacker. But I'm done hearing Tony Khan and Jericho talk about ratings. They had Meltzer explain ratings to me on his Twitter feed for the last year. I don't need to hear any more about it. If you pay attention to pro wrestling, you understand demos at this point.
10 times over.
Right. Every wrestling fan in America right now could go work at that department in any at USA Network, at TNT Network, because we've been bludgeoned with it over and over and over, and it's fine, like you said, that him again. Actually, you made me like the segment more than I did by pointing out that Chris is.
He's supposed to be the kind of pathetic guy clinging to any shred of relevance.
Right,
you know
he's the aging rock star.
Yes.
That still wants to be relevant. You know, I get it. Yeah, okay.
Someone did throw a fun idea out that he's 49 years old now, that next year, when he turns 50, he either switches it to the 1850 demographic, or he claims that the 50-plus demographic is the most important.
Correct.
Which I thought would be
I've got my AARP card right here. Right here. I pay my $19 a year.
50-plus is the most important.
I get half off.
Chris
Mondays.
Chris joins the commentary team.
Is it cold? I think full disclosure, I think my wife told me because I turned 50 that I get half off at Kohl's on Mondays or something like that.
Mondays?
Or 20% off, which I can't go into right now because it's a pandemic, but whatever. Anyway, that was good. Jurassic Express versus the Elite. A lot of stuff going on here. What did you think about it?
I think Jurassic Express has the coolest trio moves in all of wrestling. The stuff that they set up is quite fun, and it never feels quite as contrived as some stuff that the Young Bucks do. I didn't love the Canadian Destroyer spot because it felt too choreographed. But other than that, the match was fun. I just like watching Jurassic Express wrestle.
Okay. I think I've said that for every Young Bucks match to ever exist.
Here's my thing about this match.
I didn't really like that Canadian Destroyer spot.
Yeah, I feel like
I think it happened. I think it happened too much.
Here's my thing, right? The wrestling was fine.
Yes.
It was exciting.
Yes.
We're telling a story of Kenny Omega, utilizing 6 people.
Yes.
We choose to have Kenny Omega, who not that long ago was considered the greatest wrestler in the world by every internet fan, be out-dueled head-to-head without much of an advantage by Marco Stunt, and we talk about it over and over on the thing. This match, if you switch Marco Stunt's spot with Jungle Boy's spot,
I feel like they would both have been in a better spot.
The story we're telling with Jungle Boy is he's approaching where
he's getting better.
Omega
constantly,
is.
You know, yeah.
So for him to be put in that situation makes so much sense to me. And it would make Kenny turning cleaner-ish at the end of the match. So why would Kenny have to go crazy on Marco Stunt of all people? You know, and I like Marco Stunt, and he's there for a reason, and I get it, but it's almost like when you put him in this situation, it's almost like you're mocking him in a weird way. You know what I mean?
I feel that way sometimes about him, and I'm certain that he's probably okay with it, but sometimes I'm just like, man, dude, I feel like they're literally just, you know, they're just making fun of you, whether it be just like implicitly making fun of you by putting you in this situation. And I realize that there is, like, I don't know, man. It always makes me slightly uncomfortable.
But why wouldn't Jungle Boy be that guy this match? Why wouldn't Jungle Boy be the guy to man-on-man outmaneuver Omega until Omega does something dark to take the reign? And that way, it just makes so much more sense to me. And if Kenny's going cleaner, I'm assuming that we're going to tell the story that Paige and him are breaking up over that. After all of this, the guy that gets drunk and doesn't show up to support his buddy is going to be mad because his buddy's a heel now? Is that where we're going?
I feel like...
That makes less than sense.
I feel like no one's... I feel like there's more to that story than just being like, there's a good guy and there's a bad guy there. You know what I mean? Paige is not doing well, but neither is Kenny.
What do you mean Paige is not doing well as? In what manner?
I mean, he's just like an alcoholic.
Oh, okay. I got it.
My dude's got like a problem.
I was going to say,
he's finding people to enable him.
Right.
And Kenny's just kind of losing it.
Right.
I kind of get what you're saying.
But to me, if Omega were to go bad guy, if I'm Paige, I'd be like, well, that's cool. We're really going to win now. Right? Because it seems like beating people up is what he's into. Yeah. But I get the thing where you're saying
I mean, we'll see where it goes.
And if Kenny turns on, you're right. We will see where it goes, and I could be totally wrong, right? And I admit, I hope I am. But then if Kenny goes heel on FTR and Paige, then I don't get where that leaves FTR, because I don't understand why FTR is being nice to the Bucks to begin with. I'm totally at a loss as to how they wound up coming in and being, but. Well, I guess
I'm not gonna say they're being nice per se. They're being cordial.
Okay.
If that's somewhat of a better word.
Cordial's probably right.
They were like initially rude, but the Bucks helped them out and all that, and then the match happened. And stuff happens.
Okay, and then we get to the women's portion of your program.
All right.
We interview Sheeta somewhere in there.
Yes.
We get the Nightmare Sisters in a banger of a match with MJ Jenkins and Kenji Page. We get a photo of a quick picture of Britt in her little thing, and we get Nyla Rose coming out and introducing her new manager, Vicky Guerrero. What did you think about this segment?
All right, I love the fact that Vicky Guerrero's theme has like remixed versions of her "Excuse Me" in it.
Yes,
it was quite good. That's one of my favorite little details. It could be good. We'll see. For me, I always kind of thought of Vicky Guerrero as more of a like borderline comedy-ish act, just because of how over.
It's an odd pairing.
It's a bit of an odd pairing, but I mean, we'll see. Because like I don't know, Nyla's also like I don't want to say borderline comedy, but she does like dabble in it a bit. Like when she was like, "I found your kendo stick," and just like wax her with it was hilarious. But that was still within her character of being.
And to your point, Vicky kind of, to me, saved the whole thing when she says, once she starts cheating, y'all can't handle her now. And I thought that was really well said. You know what I mean? Like, if Nyla Rose, who's already the biggest, strongest person you have, decides I'm okay with cheating all the time, and that's going to be part of my game plan, all of a sudden, her weaponry becomes endless as well.
Yes.
And I like that. What I didn't like.
What did you not like? Was it the Nightmare Sisters segment?
What on earth are we doing? This show had 12 minutes of women on it. 5 of it was commercials.
And a considerable portion of it was Nightmare Sisters.
Right. What are we doing? Allie is a good wrestler. The Bunny, Allie, whatever you call it. She's a good wrestler. You haven't shown me her as a wrestler in months. Has she been wrestling on Dark or something that I missed?
Briefly with Brandy, but other than that, not really. She was mostly just the manager for Butcher and the Blade, and then
we stayed. And Brandy, I thought we were done watching Brandy wrestle. And I don't mean it like that. I do mean it like that, but it's just.
Yeah, but so you absolutely do mean it.
But I was enjoying Brandy's spot. It was almost.
I like Brandy's spot.
It has this feeling of, people are going to hate it. It has this feeling of I'm not getting enough attention, so I'm going to put myself in the middle of this again. And we have a whole company that has told me that we care about women's wrestling, and this was what I got.
We got 12 minutes on a pay-per-view event.
Yeah, really 7. And if you count them walking to and from, now what are we at?
4, maybe.
And the wrestling moves we saw was Allie's finisher and a tackle by Brandy. And she's got a great spear. I will say that. It's way better than somebody's. I like it. It's a good spear. Okay, we'll move on, though, because we're going to get to something else. Mox versus Cage.
So... Mox goes over.
That's what you thought.
That's what I thought. Did Cage go over in like a backstage segment? No.
No, is that what you thought? I mean, is that all you want to talk about?
I don't remember having a whole lot of thoughts on this match. It was about what I expected it to be.
What'd you think about the ending?
The ending was...
Throwing in the towel.
That was... I mean, that's probably the ending that fits best if you want to keep Brian Cage looking like a monster, if that makes sense. Where it's just like, okay, your corner man threw in the towel instead of you tapping out. You were just sitting there letting your arm get busted open because you still wanted to win.
This right here is, to me, I love Jon Moxley. I love Dean Ambrose. But his whole career, I have always thought this about him, and this showcases it to me. Jon Moxley is fantastic until you ring the bell.
I disagree slightly.
And no, I'm not done. And he's pretty good once you ring the bell. And when he's motivated, he's very good. And sometimes it feels like, and dude, it's not like this was a bad match. It wasn't bad. It just, I was told every episode by Taz that this was going to be an anointing of a monster who has a F the world belt. This is going to be violence. This is going to be frantic. Dean is going to be, and Dean did tell the story of, he points, I should have known, because Dean did point out before the match, you say I can't put him in this shit, the paradigm shift, I'm just going to break his arm. So he told you what was going to happen, and he went out there and did it, and I think there's credit to that.
Yes.
But up until Dean said that, we were told by everybody that these two guys wanted to kill each other, and Taz wants there to be a death. And then Taz comes out before the match, and he rambles about blah, 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 and then the time for all that's over, it's time to rough you up. There was no reason for Taz's promo.
No. It just took more time away from the match.
Right? And then it was almost like they were teasing me that I'm about to get this crazy violent thing, and then they give me a towel for the finish. Now, I will say this. I mocked the finish in that, and I have a very rudimentary knowledge of MMA. And so today I said to Justin, who's on the other podcast a lot, every time, and sometimes this one, and I said, so tell me this, the armbar he puts on at the end, was that like, and he goes, actually, if you flip it over like that, it looks worse from the other angle. He said, but if I can get you in that same hold this way and I can lean back, it hurts you much, much more. And he said, and you can actually, because I thought when he shot the bird at Taz while he was doing it, I was like, Lord have mercy. And he said, actually, you can do that. He said, I don't know if you can do it with Cage's arm, but he said, actually, you could do that from that angle if you had it cinched in. And I was like, okay, well then I'll have to back off a little bit on it. But then at the end we have, and I thought, okay, we've saved this segment because you have them wanting to jump him after it's over, after they throw in the towel and the lights go out and come on, and you have the skateboard spot
with Darby.
He forces Cage out of the ring, and I'm like, that's awesome. That's awesome. We get Darby, Cage. Cage will kill him, and Darby will not lose anything from it. We'll get a program with cool vignettes and Taz talking and Darby not really talking, but getting his words over.
His weird little
vignette. Right. I thought, okay, this is great.
I miss Darby, dude.
And then Taz, for whatever reason, they decide to walk up the railway to go out. And they have to remind me of the fact that Cody told me there weren't any invisible walls. They're three feet away from each other. Mad as heck. Just a second ago, ready to fight.
Now you're just suddenly there's a barrier.
And the monster that I've been told this guy's a monster, walks, and I'm nitpicking, and I know I am, and I'm sorry, but walks away, waits for people to get between them, and then attacks again. And it's like, guys, Taz was in ECW. JR has written and been a part of the greatest segments in wrestling history, both WCW and had a ringside seat for the good ones in New Japan too, and WWE. And Jericho has been a part of, helped write all these Kenny Omega. All these people are brilliant. Moxley is a brilliant wrestling mind. How did somebody not go, yeah, you need to walk out that way?
Just
that
like
way.
Lee, just go.
Just go that way. Don't go up the steps because you'll be right back over here by us. Use your head. You know what I mean? And it's you know what stinks about it? This is a really good wrestling show.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was just, and you know what they've hit out of the park a lot over the weeks is the details. And this one was a little bit loose on the details, and it frustrated me because I am a weirdly detail guy.
Well, it's one of those things where, like, if they train you to, like, appreciate the details, when the details aren't there, it's noticeable.
Or when you tell me that's the other thing that bothered me about it, is you tell me that this is what's, like you tell me there's no invisible walls in this company.
Yes.
The other companies, the bad guys, they have invisible walls.
You made a big deal out of it.
And then 4 or 5 times now post that comment, we've seen this.
Yes.
You know, and all of wrestling does it where you jump my buddy, there's medical assistants around him, and me and you are side by side, but I'm on a knee with my hand on my buddy's chest. Why aren't you fighting him? You just jumped your buddy.
I'll go after him.
Yes, right. And it happens all the time. And that's the thing. And then, like the thing with Cody, you know, the point of Cody's thing isn't to put Cody's over. We don't have to put Cody over. He
should have just had a slightly difficult time against
Sonny Kiss. Yeah.
And it would have been great.
And what you could have been doing is going, you guys have been sleeping on Sonny. He's incredibly talented. That's why this match is going like it is. Maybe Arn isn't understanding that.
Yes.
Maybe Arn's putting more pressure on Cody because, you know, instead of saying Cody, you see what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong.
Reframing it slightly would have been better.
And there's nothing wrong with what they did. It worked. You know what I mean? It just didn't work for me. It was a double instead of a home run.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was a really good episode. Except for they're going to have to do
okay episode. I'll say that.
They're going to have to do something about the way they're doing the women's division.
It sucks, man, because they do have some talented ladies in
right.
there.
Now,
I actually wanted to point out next week on Dynamite we're getting Ivelisse versus Diamante, which is kind of wild.
Ivelisse is a fantastic in-ring performer.
Yes.
And Diamante is off the chain.
That, if they get those two up in the mix in the women's division, even if they're not, like, main event and they, like, are trainers, because I'm not sure, I think they've both been around for quite a bit.
Ivelisse was great on Lucha Underground.
Yes. I have heard she's notoriously difficult to work with, but time changes people and all that, so we'll see.
I would think that at some point somebody said that about Jericho.
Yeah.
Like everywhere he ever was. You know what I mean? And a lot of times people that are difficult to work with are difficult to work with because they think the product would be better if they were on the screen. And a lot of times they're right.
Hey, you know what? He's the demo god. He's got a point.
You know, well, maybe not at this point in his career, but you know, Ivelisse can go. So it's got to be weird if she's in an organization. And like she's in an organization where she's wrestling men and she has a title. You know, the Trios Championship or whatever that was. And then that organization ends and nobody's knocking on her door beating it down for to come in. And then when she does come in, they're not doing a bunch of stuff to promote. It has to feel weird for her. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure it's like, you know, take a Kurt Hawkins, who I wouldn't mind seeing show up on Slammiversary tonight. You take that guy, he can go. Don't you think it's weird for Kurt Hawkins or to think, why does that guy over there get to have, why does Baron Corbin get to have a half hour of a 2-hour show when he can't, you know, and I like Baron Corbin, but I get where you're coming from too. I think you may have given up watching that version of a company partially over Baron Corbin.
No, oh man, not exactly, but like, man, God, he was on for so long, every single week. It's not that he was bad. It was just he was way overexposed for such a long period of time. And it's like, dude, you guys have the depth of a company, and you're just giving me this guy every single week.
Right.
There's other people that are hungry.
Right. But that's the point. That's my point too with an Ivelisse though, is you look and you go, well, what are we doing this week? Well, I'm going to run Brandy and Allie out there against two people nobody knows. And Ivelisse has to look like, well, why on earth y'all bring me here? I can go out there and wrestle all 4 of them if you want. and it'll be awesome. You know?
It'll be great.
You'll love it. You'll think Brandy can wrestle when this thing's over. You know? Trust me, I'll go out there and make her a star.
No,
actually, from what I understand, this happened. Ivelisse walked into the training facility, and they put her in there with Brandy, and she said, "Hey, look, I've seen you work earlier. If you just do what I tell you, I can get you signed." And Brandy was like, "What are you talking about? I'm like fixing to be the champ."
Main event, here I come.
Okay, so let's talk about something awesome. But it broke your heart.
It broke.
Can we talk about New Japan for a little bit?
Let's talk about New Japan for a little bit.
Who wants to talk about New Japan?
It's time to talk about my wrestling.
Okay, we talked about the Cup, and then we wind up having a championship night after the Cup finishes with Evil. And tell us what happens.
All right, we're just going to go through the championship matches. First off, I do want to reiterate how nice it is to have fans back. And they were as hot as a 1/3 capacity Japanese crowd can get. They were clapping constantly.
How great was it, though, because they were all sitting over, at least 1 seat away from each other, all had masks on.
Every single person.
But you didn't see any of them, like, you didn't have 3 people that know each other, like, go, no, I don't care about the rules, and plop down beside each other. But also, like...
Unlike other shows, Dynamite.
Correct. But the other thing is, though... They were a real, live, interactive crowd. It was great. It made so much better. Go ahead. Keep talking. I'm sorry.
Man. So the first match was Sho versus Shingo for the never open weight belt. That was the first championship match. What did you think of it?
I liked it.
I liked it quite a bit. I felt like maybe it was a little much for me. My favorite match of theirs is still probably the Best of the Super Juniors match from last year, because that was like the big breakout moment for Sho. But I did love the spot after the Death Valley Driver where he tried to like power through it and then he just like falls over and collapses. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I love the kick out at 1. That always gets me just like hyped. Someone kicks out at 1, dude, I'm like off the chair. I'm standing. I'm like, let's freaking go.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Shingo goes over, which is yeah. They need a never openweight champion to actually have a couple defenses, because like the average amount of defenses is like less than 1 for the never openweight belt.
Really?
Yeah, people usually give it up on the first go.
Wow.
Yeah, it's weird. Only a couple people have had like a handful of defenses. It's been around for a couple of years, and I think maybe Ishii had a couple defenses, but he's also lost it on his first defense like at least twice.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a belt that kind of gets thrown around,
right?
Which is fine. I actually like that it could be, because I feel every time I'm like, dog, he could just lose it.
Right.
Yeah, I never feel like, oh, okay, this is another defense.
Right.
Like how I felt about a later match, which did not end up being true. But afterwards, we set up El Desperado versus Shingo, which could be a banger. I feel like
He's great.
Working El Desperado back into the main event-ish scene after his jaw got cracked. I liked El Desperado a lot. He's got a lot of flair. And in New Japan, I'm not saying guys don't have flair, but for him to have so much flair, I think it makes him stand out. He's a really cool and charismatic performer. Next, we got the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Belts. I don't know what the Junior Tag Belts are going to do, because the Junior Tag Belts are on Sho and Yo got, like, injured. Like, he bucked up his knee.
Mm-hmm.
Something fierce. So I don't know if they're just gonna vacate those. Like, I don't know what junior teams could even take him at this point, is part of the issue. Especially given that foreign talent can't come in. I kind of hope they just merge the belts, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just like have one open weight tag division. I feel like that would be a huge plus. But this match was Taichi and ZSJ versus Tanahashi and Ibushi. What did you think of it?
It was good.
See, I thought it was great.
Yeah.
For me,
You're liking that partnership.
Dude, I'm so big on ZSJ and Taichi.
Right.
For me, the golden aces of like Tana and Ibushi, they are kind of that team of singles stars thrown together.
Mm-hmm.
one of which is slightly past his prime. And I feel like they did a great job of telling that by straight up just, the only word I can think for it is dismantling Tanahashi.
Right.
They ruined him. They did both of his knees dragon screw leg whips like 6 times.
Right.
He was not able to continue at that point.
And
you know
both of them are on the rise.
Yes.
As singles competitors and as a team.
Dude, oh man. I love that they won. I love the way that they won, where it felt like they really... This was one of the few tag matches where I felt like strategy was like a fundamental part of the match. Like, they were still back and forth, yes, but they were always just like their strategy was to weaken Tanahashi, keep Ibushi away from Tanahashi and breaking up the pins and stuff like that. So I don't really get that a lot from tag matches, and I feel like I should, because my 90% of tag matches I watch are just 99%. Let's go ahead and say it. Are just, okay, we're going to keep this dude in our corner, except obviously he's not going to stay in our corner because he's going to get the hot tag, and that never comes back. The person that got beat up for half the match, they're fine.
Right.
They're never, if they get pinned, that's just a coincidence. It's just like, because there's a 50-50 chance they get pinned, you know?
Right. Instead, we're telling the story.
We're weakening Tanahashi, we're isolating him, we're just doing our best. In that last little section of the match was phenomenal about that, where it's just like, keep Ibushi away, keep him out, weaken Tanahashi.
And that's why we win.
Yeah, dude, I don't know.
That is why they won.
That's why I liked it so much, was because like I don't see that strategy in tag matches.
No.
I know. I've never seen that strategy. Like, I rarely see that strategy.
And yet they tell you that's what's going on.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
The announcer always says, well, they're trying to isolate the opponent. Well, why? It never works.
I know they're going to get the hot tag.
Yes.
I know with 100% certainty, because that's how wrestling matches work.
Yes.
That's kind of the reason why I don't like tag matches as much as other matches, is because I feel like they're like really, really scripted.
Yes.
Like, people have this blueprint of a tag match that they're just like, okay, I'm going to put my stuff in this.
Yes.
And you put your stuff in this. And it's like, man, it can be exciting, but I never get like engaged by it.
Well, that's what the old timers always talk about in the new version of singles wrestling versus the old version of single wrestling, is everybody's out there just trying to get their spots in. Tag wrestling has always been a little bit like that.
Yes.
And so it really has started to evolve in that, with the normality of, I'm getting my spots in anyway. But go ahead.
I feel, I don't know. I also just love the pure, I don't know, it's like straight up made me smile when they won, because the way they just like hugged each other and were just like, they just legitimately overjoyed.
Right.
I love these nasty, awful, cheating, rude, terrible boys, but they're my favorite.
Right.
I love them.
Well, and two, they're getting, their partnership is the way they can ascend.
Dude, absolutely. That is ZSJ's first IWGP belt that he won.
Right.
Which I thought was weird, because I guess I thought he had like an intercontinental reign, but that is not true, no.
Okay.
That is his first IWGP belt that he won. I don't know. I love it, dude. I love that team. I love Taichi.
Absolutely. I know you love Taichi.
I love Taichi, man. All right, so last thing was the main event.
Man, you say that with such a, the last thing was the main event.
I can't have anything in New Japan Pro Wrestling. I can't have nothing in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Bro, my guy finally wins the big one, and a pandemic happens, and he gets one title defense, and then he loses it to his best friend that betrayed him. Dog, I can't have nothing. I can't have anything in New Japan.
Oh, man.
Dude,
this hurts.
This hurts, dog. I cannot believe this happened. I mean, I thought the match was okay. This was more of an angle than a match. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Which is a little odd for New Japan, but I think it's like a strong foot forward, if that makes sense. Like, when you're getting back into the swing of things, starting out with like an angle that's like hot and people are invested in, I think that's a smart move, rather than just going out there and having a fantastic back and forth wrestling match. It was good. He targeted his leg and all that. Naito looked, man, he lost, dog. Like, I'm still processing it. I mean, it's been like a week, and I'm still just like, Naito doesn't have the belts anymore.
Right.
Because Dick Togo came out in a Bushi mask and choked him.
Right.
And then Evil stomps and hits him with Everything is Evil for the 3 count.
Yeah.
And I was like, even in that last moment, I was just like, I just like literally said out loud, I was like, kick out. Like at like 2.5, and he didn't. And I was like, bro. I was like, I can't have anything.
But that's wrestling too, right? You get emotionally invested in these people and these characters.
I'm so invested, and it's just like Evil betraying him hurts so bad because like he was the first Pareja. He was the first brother of Lij.
Yeah,
he was the first.
Right,
he debuted.
Okay, I had not seen the first debut angle thing where they have the ghost, I guess. The
ghost-looking mask and stuff.
In suits and the hood. Yeah,
I like the blonde look.
Wow, so good.
It's so cool, dude. I know.
So good.
Because Naito originally just came out by himself like that for a period before Evil showed up, and then shortly after Bushi. But I love this guy. I hope they make like kind of a comeback at some point.
Yeah.
In terms of Naito's arc, but also blonde Evil was a cool look.
Right. Now, I liked Evil's look.
Evil's look was quite cool, and I liked his theme song quite a bit.
It had a gladiator feel to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the intro was great. Everything the Bullet Club does is big. They go big or they go home. I did not particularly like the interference angle of it.
No, and that's kind of just my preferences are always just I don't like interference. Right. I would prefer people to have a straight up and down wrestling match where someone is a clear winner and a clear loser. I'd love that.
Right.
I understand why during this angle they would not want to, and I understand to build heat they would not want to.
It's too early to start telling the story that like they did in the tag match, the Bad Knees. It's too early to have him lose because of that, probably, because then all of a sudden that can become a target that he can't really overcome often.
Surgically repaired knee and all that,
right?
Where it gets mentioned in every single match,
right? And so I get that, and I get what you're saying, but I just felt like, but it's the Bullet Club.
It's the Bullet Club.
That's how they roll.
That's what they do. You know, that's literally their main thing.
They suck the fun out of everything.
Hey, you can't argue with success.
But that's the role, right? The role. That hollow feeling you have in your stomach when they go over.
I'm getting worked, dog.
It's like, okay, the NWO was like that, right? Back in WCW days. You know, they just suck the fun out of everything. You know, you got these monsters like Scott Hall and Kevin Nash wrestling in a tag division that, other than Harlem Heat, how could any of these people even bother them? Or if the Steiner brothers, but they broke them up. But that's the point, though. The Steiner brothers are brothers. They break them up. One of them joins the NWO.
Yeah.
Right? That's what we had here. Evil. They're brothers.
They broke them up, dude.
The only reason why they broke them up is because a couple of the other guys can't get over here. Really? You're going to break up a friendship?
Bro.
Over. And what do you promise him to get him there? You promise him the heavyweight title. Dude, what does he get?
The heavyweight title.
How can you not join them? Right? That's the point, right?
I know, and it's, man, I just feel so bad. I just feel so bad for Naito, but that's like, I feel like this story's not over yet. I see a comeback story for Naito, for me, because of how personal this is.
Do you think he goes over Evil to win back the belt?
That's hard to say. That's a tough question. Yes,
because that would give you 3 matches, right? If he beats Evil to get the belt back, and then he has to, there's another challenge. Is that how that works, or no?
No,
not necessarily.
He could potentially win the G1, maybe to get a heavyweight title shot, but he also, I don't know. That's a tough question as to how he gets back there. I feel like the G1 is the more likely option.
He goes through it again.
Oh man, but that would be, to win it a third time would be kind of crazy.
Right.
I think like only Tanahashi's won it more than 2 times.
Yeah.
They totally could do that, but it's hard. I don't know, man. That's tough. Because we also have Hiromu versus Evil coming up. Because afterwards, Hiromu comes out and defends Naito, and then does the... Did he do the screaming thing on New Japan Cup Finals or Dominion? He sat there screaming in the middle of the ring.
He did that on both.
Did that. He did that after the heavyweight title match.
Yes.
That's the last thing we've seen from New Japan, right?
Yeah, that was
that image of him screaming.
Which was
perfect.
Crazy. He's got the word "Y" written all over his wrist tape. He's sitting in the ring screaming, completely losing his mind.
Yeah.
As Evil walks away and the music reaches its climax. Dude, It was
perfectly done.
Incredible.
Yes.
I felt in that moment because again, I'm so emotionally invested in this where I'm just like, dog, I'm right there with you, Hiromu.
Right.
This sucks.
And you know what? Anybody else in almost any company doing what he did feels weird.
I would feel hokey or something.
But he can walk out there and do it, and it totally works.
100%, just because of how Hiromu is.
Yeah.
Hiromu, the one thing that Hiromu has is he always admired. He was Young Lions with Evil.
Right.
He was always around Naito, and so for his family to be broken up like that is so tragic. I can't even imagine being him.
Right.
And he's of course he's already off his rocker. Now he's completely unhinged.
Yes, which could make for some good television too.
It's gonna make some good TV.
Right. So you had a good time.
I had a great time, dog. I feel so bad.
Right.
Because Naito's my guy, you know.
Now,
but I'm invested.
Did you want to mention that you did enjoy JR's performance?
Yeah, JR's performance on Dynamite just sounded like he was having fun, gently ribbing people.
Yeah.
He talked about how the if they know where FTR's car is, why don't the authorities?
Right.
Because it's stolen.
Right.
Just stuff like that where it's kind of gently prodding the fourth wall and just being. He said that Butcher and the Blade look like they make bread in their off time, which I've joked about the way they dressed multiple times about how they look like they.
The Butcher,
brew
the Blade,
in
the bakery.
Yeah. They look like they brew kombucha in their bathtubs.
Yeah.
And have a side blog where they review hops and beer, artisanal beer and stuff like that.
Right.
So I don't know. I felt like he was having a good time.
Right.
I don't know. JR feels like he's had more fun with the product as of recently. Because originally he was a little stiff, but it seems like once he got used to the product.
I do think that he has developed a friendship with Excalibur. I feel like putting Jericho beside him and having Jericho talk him up constantly. Jericho was a little over the top for me today, but I
like JR poking at him in that sense too, though. You know what I mean?
Well, and if Chris isn't over the top, then what JR is doing doesn't work, and so it did work, and it worked great. So I thought that was, I like that. I just want to say too, hey, I'm a big Brandy fan. I know it doesn't sound like that. I know it doesn't sound like that, but I'm a big fan of Brandy.
You're Brandy Mark.
In a way.
Let's not go that far.
In a way. I like her as a manager.
Dude, imagine owning a Brandy Rhodes t-shirt.
I'm not going to bury her that bad.
No.
I liked her. I like her as a manager.
I do like her as a manager. That's what I'm saying.
Dude, in New Japan, when she was Cody's manager, and she would pretend to be hurt after the enemy bumps into her.
She's good.
Absolutely.
Then they do the kiss spot. Where
she was great in that role.
She was awesome.
She was great in that role. And I feel like there's room for her both as, I feel like there's room for her in the Stephanie McMahon role.
Yeah.
Of I lead the women's division, but I'm going to. If you want her to be a heel, she can be. If you want to be a face, she can be, and I think she can do both those things well. I feel like she is she's a fantastic spokesperson on social media for the company and for anything she ever talks about. I just don't particularly understand why she's back to wrestling. That's all. I don't want people to think I bury her because I do think. Not only do I think she has a place in wrestling, I think she has a huge place in the wrestling world. I just don't necessarily think it's after the bell rings. That's all. Now, anything else anybody got to say?
No, I'm looking forward to wrestling, whether it be tonight or in the future. I like wrestling.
Yes. Tonight, Slammiversary. Saturday night. And AEW Fyter Fest 2.
Don't think that's true.
I think it is.
No,
they didn't say Fyter Fest 2?
They had 2 weeks of Fyter Fest, then they had Fight for the Fallen, and I think we're just back to regularly scheduled programming.
Fyter Fest 3.
Fyter Fest 3! Bringing it back. No, I don't. I think it's just normal TV next week.
Are you sure?
They said next week on AEW Dynamite.
Ah.
So I think it's just straight up normal.
Oh, you know what else happened? Tony Khan did a pre-show thing with Conrad and Eric Bischoff, and they discussed some things. And it was interesting because Tony pointed out that he did an interview prior to getting his company up and going where he said multiple glowing things about Eric Bischoff, and all that got published was the part where he talked about the mistakes at the very end. He said, and I feel like, I spent all this time talking good about you, but the only thing that got published was that part, and I feel like we got off on the wrong foot. And he said, I want you to understand that wrestling wouldn't be on TNT without Eric Bischoff. And that what your mark in the company as a whole. And it's funny because the reason why I point this out is I always hark back to Diamond Dallas Page said it, and then Cody Rhodes said it after the first pay-per-view that AEW had, is Eric always talked about there needs to be a buffet of wrestling on a show. And I feel like Eric brought cruiserweights to the forefront, which if your point is, Meltzer, that Rey Mysterio is the most influential wrestler, and he's not wrong, even if I disagree with him, he's not wrong. If that's your point, Rey Mysterio doesn't get those chances without Eric Bischoff. Now, contracts being what they are and things being what they are, it's entirely possible that he, in order to get the Nashes and the Hogans and the Halls into the company, that he couldn't put an Eddie Guerrero in a main event or Chris Jericho in a main event. And so because those people, Vince had the luxury of all of the main guys leaving, and so suddenly he had to recreate main events, which makes a room for an Eddie to, and then Austin gets hurt and The Rock leaves to go make movies. And so all of a sudden, all these smaller guys that are great workers get elevated. Some of that's dumb luck. Like
some of that is just circumstances outside of their control or anyone's control.
Right. Sean, I'm sure he thought Sean, The Rock, Austin, and all those guys were going to be the future. And three of them couldn't work anymore. And all of a sudden, you get Eddie Guerrero and you get Dean Malenko. Those guys didn't get started with him. They got started with Heyman and then in Eddie's case with Eric. And so I feel like a lot of what Eric talks about he doesn't love on his radio shows, the Bucks, things like that, which I don't know. I can't quote what he said about it, but there are things I feel like he says that lead you to believe that he thinks a lot of that's silly. I think he's kind of laughing too because he knows he put that on TV. He knows he put Psychosis on TV and gave you those matches. He knows that La Parka walking around with a chair he did for you. He knows, it's the spinning the wheel. And he knows he did all that. And so I think Eric Bischoff is so unfairly judged due to, one, he's quite smug, so he's easy to dislike.
Pretty much every picture I've ever seen of him, he looks smug in. I think that's just his face.
Like if you had
last time I heard an Eric Bischoff... no, it wasn't Eric Bischoff. I'm sorry. I mixed up Eric Bischoff with Vince Russo.
Oh, no, Vince Russo is a completely different story.
Correct.
Because last time I heard...
You're on speaking terms.
Last time I heard Vince Russo talk, he said he hated both show programs so much that he had to do karaoke bits in between them to get through them.
That's true.
That guy's a mark for himself. We don't
he is.
Get out of
he
here.
is.
Eric Bischoff's also a mark for himself, but we feel that one's warranted.
But Vince Russo also said that AEW and WWE were in cahoots.
Dude, it's all a work, bro.
Just look at the logo.
Everything's a work.
They both have W in them?
And as you go through life, they both have W in them.
Yes.
Obviously.
Dude, imagine if this is all a freaking work.
Triple H comes out on Dynamite. We had you the entire time.
Everything is a work. And as you watch the news, remember...
It's all a work,
It's all a work.
Aliens.
Everything is pro wrestling.
Everything is... Dude, pro wrestling, like the way I view pro wrestling has helped me view everything else in the world. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
People are working constantly.
Yes.
They're always working an angle.
Right.
Don't work yourself into a shoot, brother.
Yeah, and that's the worst part is when you see somebody and you know they're working themselves into a shoot and you can't stop them from working themselves into a shoot.
It's like, dog, that's
the only thing worse is when they shoot themselves into a work.
Exactly. Kanye's working right now, dog. That dude's not running for president. That dude's promoting an album.
Yes,
I guarantee it.
Yes. Oh my God. And
Dude,
Kanye running for president.
Kanye might be running for president just because his last album flopped so hard.
That's exactly. He's getting his name out there so he can make more music and more money. He's working, dog.
Right.
That dude has no intention to be president.
Right. And on that note, for Go Home Heat, for New Japan Jared, for Ray, from EKP, Go Home Heat Production, copyright 2020. Go home.